This is a lecture from Open Tuition. To benefit from the lecture, you should download the free lecture notes from opentuition.com.
So let's go through and now look at capital taxes. We've looked at income taxes as a direct tax. We're now going to look at capital taxes, which is whereby a company will pay tax based upon a gain on the sale of an asset or an investment. Okay, so it's not just looking at disposing of an item of property, plant and equipment or something along those lines there. It's looking at the gain is a taxable profit on the disposal of an investment or an asset. Okay, so most assets are chargeable assets. When we talk about chargeable assets, that means that we are going to pay a capital gain or a capital gains tax. There are some exemptions that exist. Again, learn them. I wouldn't worry about them too much. Private motor cars, qualifying corporate bonds, chattels bought and sold for less than $6,000. And wasting chattels. Okay, so if it has a life of less than 50 years, that's a horse. Okay, other ones, things are also exempt from capital gains tax, essentially because it is a gift. So we've gifted it to somebody. It's not as if then the government will deem some form of deemed proceeds to work out the gain. It is a gift that you have given of land, of buildings and works of art to a charity, or if you've gifted assets to government institutions and museums, there will be no gain calculated upon it. Okay. Yeah, need I say more? What you've got there, however, it is focusing upon the capital tax computation. Okay, this is key, isn't it? This is how you go through there and work out the capital gain, which is then used to work out the tax that you pay. Okay, so it's very similar to what you have with regards to a profit or loss on disposal, but we need to look at it from a tax perspective. So you take the proceeds, so the amount of cash that you have received, you deduct the cost of the asset, but just be careful. That cost of the asset is a historic cost, isn't it? So it looks at what we paid for it several years ago. What we can do there, we can adjust that cost up to its current cost. So to look at what it will cost you today compared to what you have sold it for today. And that's referred to as a process of indexation. All that will happen within the exam at this level is that you'll be given a percentage as to which the current cost has increased by. Okay. What you've got there is as well, you can then further reduce your gain by allowable costs. So were there any initial purchase costs that you incurred? So maybe legal fees, etc., that had to go through and be paid. Improvements and enhancements. So maybe you put an extension onto your building. So that extension will be deductible. Just note, no repairs are allowed. Okay, that's just an expense through profit or loss and would hit your, if you like, income tax computation. Not your capital tax computation, and any costs incurred to sell the assets. Okay, that's it. You just need to go through again, learn those and apply them within the question. So what we've got there, if we can find the question just at the bottom of the page that I have there, your capital tax computation. Okay, question says here, calculate the taxable gain. So using that formula there and the tax payable, and again it talks about being resident in country X, so the tax payable is going to be based upon a rate, is it of 25% of the taxable gain. Okay, so what have we got? A company resident in country X purchased land and buildings in January X5 for 155,000, of which 55 was attributable to the land. Okay, it's telling us the land amount. We will see maybe reasons why afterwards. The company incurred in the same month 55,000 for the refurbishment of the building, which was classified as capital expenditure according to local tax regulators. So that 55,000, if you like, is an improvement, is an enhancement, isn't it? So that will be an allowable cost to deduct. The land and buildings were sold for 425,000. So that is your proceeds, isn't it? 100 of this was attributable to the land. So again, we'll worry about the land aspect in a moment. But it says the company paid 8,000 in disposal costs, which were allowable for tax purposes. So they are costs incurred in selling the asset, maybe advertising, I don't know, marketing, any fees that there could be, auctioneer fees maybe, I don't know. But they are allowable, so they will be a deduction from the gain. And what it says is, it says local tax regulations allow for indexation of the purchase and refurbishment costs of the building, not the land. Okay, so that's why it's given us the costs separately, hasn't it? It told us what the land would be. Land was 55, wasn't it? So of that 155,000, well, 100,000 is for the buildings, isn't it? And that's going to be indexed likewise as well with the 55,000 that you paid for the refurbishment of the building. Okay, and that's increased by 35%. Capital gains are taxed at the corporate income tax rate applicable in country X. Okay. So what have we got there in terms of the computation? Well, let's go through there first of all and work out the capital gain. The capital gain takes the proceeds, which was 425,000, wasn't it? From that, we go through there, don't we, and deduct the cost of the purchase. Well, what you've got there is that there was 55,000, wasn't there, for the land, wasn't there? Just be careful, because next what we have is, it's first of all, you've got the 100,000 was there for the buildings, but you've also got as well the 55,000 for the improvements, and they are indexed, is it, by the 1.35, okay, because it increased in value by, is it, 35%. And then what you've got then is to deduct, is it, the 8,000, which are the disposal costs. Okay. If you tap that all into your calculator, I think you get, is it 152,750, isn't it? So what you've got then, again, at 25%, I think that gives you, is it, 38188 dollars. Okay, there we go. Key bits, again, it was the land that had no indexation, wasn't it? The buildings and the improvements did, and they were indexed by the 135, and the disposal costs of 8,000 were an allowable expense. Okay, that's it. It's not going to get much more challenging than that within the actual exam. Okay, so again, said it several times, practice questions, see how you get on, and if you get stuck, we're here. But that isn't too bad, is it? But now I'm going to go through and complete the capital tax section by looking at two small parts related to capital tax. First of all, we're going to have to look at the concept of rollover relief. Now, I don't think there's going to be any calculations examinable based upon what is written within the syllabus. It just talks about the concept of rollover relief. However, we do need to then think about how we can utilize capital losses. We have seen examples whereby it has asked us to show how we use the capital loss from a computational perspective. So maybe the capital loss will be a little bit more of a challenge. Rollover relief as a concept, quite straightforward to go through, I think, and understand. Is what happens there is you've disposed of an asset and you have made a capital gain. Okay, all rollover relief does is it gives you a relief, so a deduction, if you roll over that gain. Okay, so it's quite literal. Okay, however, there are specific scenarios that have to arise for you to be able to roll over that gain and claim relief. To put it in a more, if you like, easier to understand fashion, rollover relief is where capital gains are deferred. Okay, and the way in which you defer that capital gain is because what happens there is that you take the cash from the sale of the asset to buy a replacement one. So you haven't just sold the old asset to get cash and to go off and pay a dividend. You've gone through there and sold that asset, and you've taken the cash from the sale of the asset and reinvested it. And the reason why you're then allowed to claim the relief on that reinvestment is because if you've used the proceeds to buy a new asset, then how are you going to go through and pay the tax? Okay, so you can claim rollover relief. Okay, how does it go through and work? Well, what you do is you take the gain on the sale and you roll it against the base cost of the replacement asset. So whatever you pay for that new asset, you have that to go in your future capital gains tax computation when you sell that new asset in the future, but you can deduct that gain within the cost. So if you paid 150,000 for a new asset and you made a gain of 20, then the base cost, if you like, the net cost against that base cost would it be 130. So we paid 150 for the new asset. We had a gain of 20. That gain of 20 can be deducted against the cost to work out the cost that then feeds into your future capital gains tax computation. Again, by reducing the cost, that does then mean that there will be a larger gain in the future. Therefore, there will be more tax payable within the future, but hopefully the tax rates will have gone down, okay, at some point in the future. But at least it goes through there and defers the original gain, doesn't it? It means that you pay the tax at a later date. Okay, so it's important just to have an idea of the concept and what rollover relief actually is. Okay, you make a gain, that gain is rolled over and used to defer that tax payment, and that gain is used against the cost of the replacement asset. Okay, you deduct that gain from the cost of the replacement asset in your future capital gains tax computation. Okay, you then have your capital losses. So we've gone through there and thought about trading losses previously. Capital losses, again, calculate things in exactly the same way. However, instead of getting a gain, what you end up there is with a loss. Okay, the rules with capital losses will be given to you specifically within the question. Key bit is that they are never carried back or offset against other income. Okay, so you can only go through and carry them forward, and you can only go through and carry them forward against future capital profits. Okay, there we go. Excellent. That's it. So let's just look at it from a conceptual fashion and then move it into a computation fashion. So what you've got there is, if you look at the example capital losses, it wants us to work out JKL's income tax due for each of the years December X7 through to December X9. So is that 3 years worth of tax computations? It says country X has the following tax regulations. Profits are subject to tax at 25%. Capital gains are added to profits from trading to give taxable profits. So I add the two together to work out the taxable profits. Trading losses can be carried forward indefinitely, but cannot be carried back to previous years. And capital gains or losses cannot be offset against trading gains, losses, or vice versa. So if you have a trading loss, you can't relieve it against a capital gain. If you have a capital loss, you can't relieve it against a trading loss, okay, and vice versa. So what have we got? Well, if we go through there and look at each of the years, X7, 8 and 9, and X7, you've got a trading loss, is it there, of 300. So that trading loss is going to be carried forward, isn't it, to the future accounting period. So there will be an X7, there will be a nil trading profit. You've got a capital profit, is it there, of 400. So you will add those two together, won't we? So that is nil. Your overall, if you like, trading profit is nil, isn't it? Because we made a loss. Capital profit is 400. So when you add them together, your total is 400, isn't it? At 25%, your tax is that a quarter. That's 100, isn't it? Okay. The 300 can only be carried forward on your profits. It can't be offset against that capital gain. So in 20x8, do you have left, is it 250? Because you've utilised that 300 loss from the previous year. That gives me 250 because there's no capital gain. 25% of that, I think, is 62.5. Okay. In terms of your, then, is it X9? 700, there's no trading losses to relieve against it. The capital loss cannot be relieved against the trading profit. So this figure there now would be nil, and that would be carried forward. So my total profits are 700. 25% of that, I think, works out, is it, as 175. Okay, there we go. Okay, and again, what you can do there is that 150 will be carried forward as a capital loss, which can be relieved against future capital profits. Okay, it's all right, isn't it? Okay, nothing too difficult there. The rules would have to be given to you within the question. Okay, you follow the rules, apply them, and then hopefully you will get the answer. Okay, there we go. That finishes off the chapter. If you get stuck, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask us on the forum. Other than that, I'll see you in the next chapter when we look at international tax issues and how tax is regulated.